In the shadow of its more prominent neighbors, Bangladesh has long been perceived as a country struggling with poverty, natural disasters, and overpopulation. However, in recent years, this narrative has begun to shift dramatically. Beneath the surface, a silent economic revolution has been unfolding, positioning Bangladesh as one of the most promising success stories in South Asia. On March 7, 1971, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman delivered a speech that would forever change the course of history for what was then East Pakistan. In an emotionally charged address, he implicitly declared the independence of Bangladesh, setting the stage for a conflict of unimaginable brutality. Despite his call for a peaceful resolution, the words he spoke ignited a war that would claim the lives of an estimated 3 million Bangladeshis in a horrifying genocide, one that stood among the most devastating atrocities since World War II. As the war ended, Bangladesh emerged as a new nation, but at a tremendous cost. The country was left utterly devastated, its infrastructure in ruins. Every road, bridge, factory, and farm had been ravaged by the conflict. To make matters worse, just 4 months before the war, the country had been struck by the most catastrophic tropical cyclone in recorded history. This natural disaster had flooded a fifth of the entire country and claimed 500,000 lives, leaving the already fragile nation on its knees. When Sheikh Mujibur Rahman returned to his homeland in early 1972, he faced an insurmountable challenge. As the leader of the Awami League, the political party that spearheaded the independence movement, it was now his responsibility to rebuild a nation shattered by war and natural disaster. The scale of the task was immense. Bangladesh was not only the newest country in the world, but also the poorest. With an average life expectancy of just 26 years and a child mortality rate exceeding 37%, the challenges were staggering. Most people survived on less than 33 cents a day, and a fifth of the population lived on less than 4 cents. Even more daunting was the reality that Bangladesh, a nation devoid of significant natural resources and habitually struck by catastrophic natural disasters, seemed to have no clear path forward. The country was plagued by political instability, and its challenges seemed insurmountable. Many believed that Bangladesh was destined to remain synonymous with poverty and suffering, earning it the unfortunate label of an international basket case. Yet, against all conceivable odds, Bangladesh would go on to achieve one of the most remarkable transformations in history. Over the next 3 decades, the country made unprecedented strides in improving its quality of life. Life expectancy soared by 180%, and the number of fatalities from tropical cyclones was reduced by a staggering 100-fold. Poverty rates plummeted from 80% to less than 19%, while child mortality was cut by 92%. The economy, once one of the weakest in the world, began to grow at a rapid pace. Bangladesh's GDP per capita, once 50% less than Pakistan's, eventually became almost 50% higher. By 2019, it had overtaken India in some key economic indicators, and the country now harbors aspirations of achieving high income status by 2041. This incredible transformation raises a profound question. How did a nation with all the odds stacked against it improve at such a blistering pace? Is Bangladesh truly witnessing an economic miracle, or is it a mirage that could fade away? To fully understand the story of Bangladesh, we must first delve into the context in which Sheikh Mujibur Rahman returned home to a nation in ruins. He had spent the duration of the Liberation War as a political prisoner, and upon his return, he was faced with the enormous task of rebuilding a country from the ground up. As Prime Minister, it was his responsibility to restore law and order, construct political institutions, and formulate a plan for economic development, all with virtually no resources. The situation was made even more complex by the rapid fragmentation of the coalition that had united against Pakistan during the war. Various factions began scrambling for control over economic assets and political power, leading to escalating instability. In response, Mujibur and the Awami League found themselves prioritizing party loyalty over merit when appointing officials, a strategy aimed at safeguarding their precarious hold on power. However, this approach was fraught with challenges. Many of those with the qualifications and expertise needed to work in government had been systematically eliminated during the war, leaving the nascent government with a severely impaired capacity to devise and implement effective policies. One of the first major decisions that needed to be made was regarding the fate of properties and assets once owned by the former Pakistani elites. After 24 years of economic subjugation, these elites own the vast majority of industries and businesses in the country. Seeing an opportunity to strengthen the power of the state, the government swiftly nationalized over 700 of these firms. However, many of these industries were handed over to loyalists and party supporters who lacked the necessary experience or knowledge to manage them effectively. This move set Bangladesh on a course toward a socialist economic system, resulting in state ownership of all banking and insurance sectors, and a staggering 92% of industries across the board. The remnants of the private sector were burdened with heavy regulations, import restrictions, and profit caps. Foreign investment was outlawed unless partnered with the government. Unfortunately, the reality of this economic experiment soon became apparent. Under poor management, the state-controlled economy began to falter dramatically. Within just 3 years, industrial output had declined by 66%, and agricultural output, vital to the economy and the primary income source for most of the population, plummeted by 84% compared to pre-war levels. Food shortages became increasingly severe. The situation reached a critical point between April and July 1974, when heavy rainfall led to catastrophic floods that wiped out the nation's rice crop. Inflation soared to 400%, leading to widespread hoarding and speculation. The government's food rationing system, already strained, collapsed under the weight of corruption. To compound the crisis, the United States, protesting Bangladesh's continued trade with embargoed Cuba, withheld 2.2 million tons of food aid. In just 9 months, 1.5 million people perished from starvation. These events severely undermined Mujibur's support, fueling the formation of a broad anti-Mujibur coalition, bolstered by the military and an emerging class of capitalists. Facing mounting opposition, Mujibur became increasingly authoritarian. He declared a state of emergency, consolidating his power as both prime minister and president. He established his paramilitary force to suppress opposition and intimidate the population. He abolished other political parties, banned the independent press, instituted martial law, and doubled down on his efforts to create a socialist state. By 1975, Bangladesh was teetering on the brink of becoming a one-party, totalitarian socialist state. However, this did not last long. In August of the same year, a violent military coup led to the assassination of Mujibur and his extended family, leaving only his 2 daughters, who were studying in Europe, as survivors. The country descended into political chaos, with a rapid succession of coups and counter-coups. When the dust finally settled, General Ziaur Rahman, popularly known as Zia, rose to power in 1977. As the leader of the newly established Bangladesh Nationalist Party, BNP, Zia began enacting sweeping policy shifts. The most significant of these was his emphasis on attracting foreign aid. Western countries and international donors had been willing to extend significant aid to Bangladesh since its independence, but they insisted that the country move away from socialism and adopt a more liberalized economic system. Under Mujibur, The government had been reluctant to make such concessions. However, by the time Zia assumed power, the situation had deteriorated to the point where aid became a desperate necessity. To appease foreign donors, Zia lifted restrictions on foreign investment, reactivated the stock market, reduced tariffs and duties, and began the slow process of privatizing state-owned companies. As a result, Bangladesh started receiving massive amounts of foreign aid, amounting to nearly $1 billion in 1977, or about 8% of the nation's GDP. The reforms themselves began to improve the economy, particularly in agriculture, which was crucial for a country already the most densely populated in the world. The government dismantled the vast subsidized public food system and price controls, while also removing restrictions on imports of fertilizer, merchandised irrigation equipment, and pesticides. However, the most impactful development was the introduction of high-yielding variety HYV rice crops, which were specifically developed to resist disease, shorten the growth cycle, and increase caloric output per acre. These advances allowed farmers to produce more food on the same plots of land and even grow crops in the winter. As a result of these developments, agricultural output tripled from 1971 to 2010, despite a 10% reduction in land use. The country never suffered another famine after 1974. However, despite these initial successes, Zia decided against further economic reforms. Combined with a decline in foreign aid and a series of poor harvests, economic growth slowed significantly by the early 1980s. Coupled with Zia's efforts to depoliticize the military and crack down on opposition, a sense of uncertainty and stagnation began to grow, ultimately leading to 21 new coup attempts, the last of which resulted in Zia's assassination. Once again, Bangladesh was thrust into political turmoil. After a final bloodless military coup, Army Chief of Staff Hussein Mohammad Ershad took control of the country in 1983. To avoid Zia's fate, Ershad consolidated his power through increased authoritarian measures. He outlawed unions and rival political parties, disbanded the Constitution, and reinstated martial law. Despite his promises to transition the country into a democracy, he consistently deferred elections and manipulated referendums to his advantage. The garment industry has done more than just fuel economic growth. It has touched the lives of millions, particularly women. The sector has provided jobs for countless individuals, offering them a pathway out of poverty. The income earned by garment workers has not only supported families, but has also led to a ripple effect of positive change across communities. Another critical factor in Bangladesh's rise has been its investment in human capital. Over the years, the country has made significant progress in education and healthcare, which have been instrumental in driving economic development. The government, alongside various non-governmental organizations, NGOs, has placed a strong emphasis on education, particularly for girls. This focus has led to a dramatic increase in literacy rates, equipping the workforce with the skills needed to compete in a global economy. The emphasis on education has not only created a more knowledgeable workforce, but also empowered individuals to dream bigger and contribute more meaningfully to society. Healthcare improvements have also played a crucial role in Bangladesh's progress. Investments in healthcare have led to a significant decline in infant mortality rates, longer life expectancy, and overall better public health. These advancements have not only improved the quality of life, but have also created a healthier, more productive workforce, further fueling economic growth and innovation. Bangladesh's embrace of technology has been another driving force behind its economic ascent. The country has experienced a digital revolution, with rapid growth in mobile phone usage, internet access, and digital financial services. This technological leap has transformed how people communicate, do business, and access services. The government's Digital Bangladesh initiative, launched in 2009, aimed to harness technology to improve governance, education, healthcare, and economic development. The initiative has been a success, leading to a surge in tech startups, e-commerce platforms, and digital payment systems. These innovations have not only boosted the economy, but have also caught the attention of global investors, further accelerating Bangladesh's growth. Infrastructure development has also been a cornerstone of Bangladesh's economic progress. The country has undertaken ambitious projects to enhance its transportation networks, energy production, and urban development. These investments have improved the quality of life for its citizens and made Bangladesh a more attractive destination for foreign investment. A prime example of this is the Padma Bridge, which, when completed, will be the longest bridge in the country. The bridge is expected to significantly reduce travel time between Dhaka and the southern regions, boosting trade and commerce. Additionally, investments in power generation have addressed the country's energy needs, ensuring a stable supply of electricity to support industrial growth. While the garment industry remains a key pillar of Bangladesh's economy, the country has wisely begun to diversify its economic base. The government has been actively promoting other sectors, such as agriculture, pharmaceuticals, shipbuilding, and information technology. This diversification has made the economy more resilient to global economic fluctuations, reducing reliance on any single industry. Agriculture, employing a large portion of the population, has benefited from modernization and technological advancements, improving productivity and income. The pharmaceutical industry has also seen rapid growth, with Bangladesh becoming a major exporter of generic medicines. Similarly, the shipbuilding industry has gained international recognition, with Bangladesh producing ships for buyers worldwide. However, despite these achievements, Bangladesh faces several challenges that could hinder its continued growth. Climate change poses a significant threat, with rising sea levels and more frequent natural disasters potentially undermining development efforts. Political instability and corruption are also concerns that could impede progress.